It's not all about head down curriculum, work, work, work. We need to have fun with our students too. And I guess that's what we're trying to say with this bringing back the joy.
Yeah, learning is fun and we can make it enjoyable. Yeah, I know I'd have a class who'd be like, where's the code crackers? Or like, where's my directed drawing? Or like, oh, can we get the speedy books out and do some maths tests? And you're like, this is fun for you guys. All right.
But that's the thing, finding what your class really enjoy and then just adding them in.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we record this podcast on, the Dharawal and Whadjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
It is 2026 and you're listening to Rainbow Skies for Teachers. Welcome to you if you're a first-time listener, or if you've been here for a long time, a warm welcome back.
Yes, welcome to a new year. How exciting. Welcome to 2026. What do they say? It's the year of the horse and we should be galloping into this year.
Absolutely. And we're going to gallop ourselves straight into some different strategies you can use to reset your class after winter break, because we know that all of our friends up in the Northern Hemisphere are going back into the classroom this week. Our lovely friends down here in the Southern Hemisphere, we're all on holiday. So I imagine our people are sitting on the beach reading a book. But everyone else, it's cold, you've got to get all rugged up, and it's time to get back into the routine. So we want to help you with a few little strategies to get back into those routines with your kids.
Yes, come join us on the rest and recovery mode.
So your students have probably spent a lot of time at home. They've rested, they've recharged, they've had some exciting times, but they've probably forgotten every single routine that you have spent months building. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, yes. So the ultimate aim that we want you to accomplish listening to this podcast is how can we support learners' well-being and have a thriving classroom community after a winter break? And we're going to give you some really helpful reminders on things that you probably already know that are going to help you start 2026 strong with your class.
Yeah, and they're just about taking a few little intentional steps so you can build that momentum up. I know when I've always come back, I remember in Dubai, we came back after that winter break or that Christmas break, and you felt like your class had totally gone backwards, and it was so frustrating. But instead of having those feelings of frustration, let's talk about intentional things that you can do that will support the learning and well-being for your students in your classroom to keep thriving as a classroom community, because they're only about reminders.
Absolutely. So the first one, let's dive straight in. You're going to rebuild your routines. We know how beneficial routines, those structured boundaries are. And over a long break, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or, hitting that 3-week mark, even your best, most independent kid can forget those routines or just need a friendly reminder. So thinking back on that first day, that first week back with your students, you want to reteach, you want to model, and you want to practice. So you want to think of things like, how do we enter and exit the room? Movement around the room, transition breaks. What do we do when we finish? Expectations for group work, expectations for whole class collaboration. And you're doing this in a way where you are celebrating those wins, right? You're not focusing on the kids who aren't doing the right thing. You're focusing on the kids who are doing the right thing. You got to change that mindset shift. If you've been struggling with routines, try changing your mindset shift and go, great, those kids are doing it awesome. Let's celebrate that. And then the other kids are going to follow suit.
Absolutely. And I guess the idea here is not to rush. Choose one routine at a time and just go over it slowly. I remember in my first year, I had the idea that I knew I should refresh the routines once the kids came back from break. I had that down. But I decided to sit everyone on the carpet and just go over all of the routines. So it was like an hour lecture of the routines. Don't do that. It does not work.
That's just exhausting for everyone, right?
Isn't it?
You just see the eyes glaze over by the third refresh of like, where's Miss Smith going with this? So rebuild on those routines. You've got this.
Yeah, and as things pop up, if you feel like if you've got a routine of how kids go and get a tissue in your classroom or how they ask to go to the bathroom and you're noticing that they're not following those normal procedures that you have in place, stop. Teach them that routine and then go ahead. And they'll pick it up a lot quicker than at first because they've already learned it.
Absolutely. And this kind of melds into the next one.
Okay, hit us up. Tell us, what is it?
So you want to press reset on your classroom norms or expectations. So At the start of every year, I do classroom expectations. I keep it simple of like, we listen to each other. We are kind to one another. So focusing on what we want them to do, not what we don't want them to do.
Mm.
And I would have got all the children to either do a little self-portrait, a signature, a little handprint, whatever it might be, for them to say, yes, we're in agreement with these class rules. We would have spent time establishing what is important to us as a collective. So you want to go and revisit that. And it's always somewhere visual in my classroom. It was up near the whiteboard, and it would just be like, hey, who can remind us where we're at on our classroom agreement, our classroom expectations, our behavioural expectations? And you just want to review over that. If you have a way to, you have extrinsic motivators, whether it's things like Class Dojo, just refreshing on how that works, or point system, group system, whatever it might be. But you're just like reinforcing how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves, and holding everyone accountable.
Yes, make the students part of that conversation so everyone is taking ownership over these classroom norms and the classroom expectations of how you treat each other.
Yeah. And it's like a nice conversation, not necessarily the teacher taking the whole lead on it. Maybe it is you sit down in a circle and you just bring it up and the kids share what's still important to them. Even still, this could be a time to reset where you might add a new classroom expectation. You might take one away because you're like, do you know what? This is just automatic in this classroom. I don't think we need that reminder there. Is there anything else we want to work on as a class? So it is like a time to actually reset, but also reflect.
Absolutely. Some of my favorite expectations when I worked at a couple of schools, they were all connected and they all had the same expectations across the entire school. And they were respect for safety, respect for each other, and respect for learning. And I loved that there were just 3 expectations. They encompassed a lot, but the kids could really say, like, I didn't show respect for learning when I did A, B, and C, or respect for safety wasn't my priority here. I really liked that. And it was a really good way of just breaking it down and keeping it consistent across the school. It's also a really good time if you teach younger kids to maybe read a book that you could talk about, or older kids, perhaps you do a why chart. What does respect for safety look like, sound like, feel like?
Yeah, I love that. You got to keep it simple. No more than 5. 3's great.
Yeah.
Respect for learning. I feel like that's a really important one to have, and all 3 of those. But that one is like, I impacted someone on being able to learn when they wanted to, and that wasn't a good thing for me to do, or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, and this is something that Alicia and I talk about all the time, but it's about prioritizing connection before you dive straight into the content.
So think of it as what is going to be your, quotation marks in the air here, your icebreaker. What is your way to connect with students after a long break? Are you going to give them a mini slideshow of what you got up to, or create a really silly quiz of what did Mrs. Hughes do in the holidays? And I love to keep it not too exciting. In all honesty, my life is pretty ordinary. So I know there's some kids that over that break might have not have been the best experience for them. It might have been a bit of a up and down Christmas or winter break. Not every kid is jumping on a plane and jet setting to an exotic location. It's just keeping it low key on like reflecting on what might have happened in the holidays, or also just seeing, hey, I really miss my friends, so let's play a game or an activity that is going to connect us. That's the ultimate aim.
Yeah, we've got a whole episode on different icebreaker games, but we love Classroom Detective, and now's a really good time to pull it out. So basically, there's just a few little questions that the kids answer secretly. They fold it up, you put it in a hat, and then you pull them out one at a time and read them without revealing the person. And everyone has to guess who that person is. So it might be their favorite color, what they want to be when they grow up, their favorite food, their favorite subject at school. It's a really nice little fun way to fill in those gaps in the day, but to create that connection with your students and with each other. So we'll put the link to that free resource in the show notes. Another one that I really like is a partner interview activity. So it's not necessarily everyone sitting down and listening to what each other did in the break, but you're having a chat with a partner and you're asking questions back and forth. And then that way the conversation can be led in any different way, depending on the student's experience.
I even like a really simple one of what's something that made you really laugh these holidays? What's something that was terrible? What was something that was really silly? And what was a memorable moment you had, like linking it very simplistically. And even like a classroom around the class where you might have 9 boxes to fill in, and they got to find someone who saw a movie, ate cookies, had a sleepover, or, built a snowman, whatever it might be. And then they just find they have those interactions moving around the class and chatting with their peers.
Yeah. When students feel supported and seen and they feel safe in the classroom environment, you're going to get more learning out of them. So that's why we really focus on this connection piece before you jump straight into all of the curriculum.
Yes. Oh, the curriculum, how fun it is.
Okay, so next up, we've got resetting your collaborative learning routines or your groups. And I want to pair with that using data to regroup your students thoughtfully so that this is a little bit easier. So this is like a little bit of a teacher job as well as a student job. So centers and rotations can often fall apart after break. Oh my gosh, don't we know it?
Yes.
So your students need to refresh on how your expectations work with that to get them humming. But also it's a good time to mix up your group. So look at the data, look at some of the activities that they'd done before winter break and have an idea of where you want to move students around to according to their learning abilities.
I sometimes like to give myself the week off and not have to sit down and do intense learning with a specific class, but rather like, hey, I've got a new game to show you. And
Yes.
with that group, I do like a new game to show them while everyone else is doing those activities they're familiar with, but layered with what we're moving into. So take it easy on yourself. That's my ultimate aim, especially in that first week, and just reestablish your baseline and then you're ready to go from week 2.
Or even having a dress rehearsal that week. We speak about that a lot with our literacy groups, but you can have those groups up and running, but not a group working with you in that first week, just to reset those expectations. Okay, this is what I expect when you're working. This is how this game gets played. This is how you do this activity. And you're not being drawn away from your group because that can be stressful.
Yeah. I like to as well, making sure you pick activities the kids really like. So they're starting with success. They're like, oh, I know how this works. I can run with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, number 5. It's along the same vein of what we've been going on, but just make sure you're bringing that joy back to it, the love of learning. We know for that winter time, it's dark, it's cold, everyone's a little sluggish. So sprinkle in some engaging, lighthearted activities. I used to, in wintertime, we have a drink here called Milo. Who else in the world has Milo? But we used to have Milo.
I feel like it's an Australian thing only, is it?
I think so. I would have Milo Monday. So it's like a malt drink. So you could have like hot chocolate Tuesdays.
Yes.
But the winter time is great for that. And you can even get it where kids bring in their own mugs. And that is a conversation in itself of why is this mug special to you? Or the kids who bring in like the Harry Potter mugs or whatever it might be. We'd sit down together in the morning and we'd have hot chocolate and then we'd start the day. Maybe it's having winter themed challenges. Or you're doing some creative writing prompts to start your day or after break time. What are some other things we could do to make it joyful, Ash?
Some fun brain breaks. I think including those in your daily activities is fabulous, but reminding the kids, okay, we do have brain breaks. This is really good for us to stop, reset. We've had a couple of different episodes on brain breaks before on the podcast if you need ideas for that. Even arts and crafts, but think about what your class really enjoy and do some of those things. It's not all about head down curriculum, work, work, work. We need to have fun with our students too. And I guess that's what we're trying to say with this bringing back the joy.
Yeah, learning is fun and we can make it enjoyable. Yeah, I know I'd have a class who'd be like, where's the code crackers? Or like, where's my directed drawing? Or like, oh, can we get the speedy books out and do some maths tests? And you're like, this is fun for you guys. All right.
But that's the thing, finding what your class really enjoy and then just adding them in. And perhaps we spoke about this back in December when we were talking like getting your class, keeping them occupied leading up to Christmas, but dedicating afternoon time to doing something that they really enjoy. And it can still have learning elements to it, like the code crackers. So we got some New Year code crackers, which would be fabulous. They're doing maths activities, but they're also having a lot of fun at the same time. There's some examples of activities that could just really bring back that joy and that fun for learning.
Absolutely. Now, we've been focusing a lot on the kids during this time of returning after a winter break, but it is a good time for you as the teacher to have a look at your systems. What is your goal moving into the new year? Do you want to make sure that your teacher space is tidy at the end of each day so you're starting the next day fresh? How's your planning systems going? Did you completely switch off in December and you're like, this is how I would operate? I'd be like, I'm done. I'm going to go in with fresh eyes in January and smash out my game plan for that term. Or you might have a grade partner who's really efficient and they got you to organise it beforehand, and now you're just very appreciative to them to getting you on the right track. So have you set some manageable goals? Don't make it audacious and go, I've got 5 things I want to work on. What's that one thing you want to focus on, and go forth with that? What are some other ways we can work in our teacher systems?
Oh, reflect on what worked and what didn't work with you and with your students, and be okay just to let it go if it didn't work. Like, I've set up classroom management systems and reward systems that just haven't worked before in the past. And I've just started from scratch when we've come back from a break. And this now's a really good time to do that as well. So if something didn't work, or if something really did work, double down on that. I think that's a really good thing to do. And then also establish some habits that might make your teaching easier. A habit that I always recommend to teachers is choosing one afternoon a week to leave school right on the bell to go and do something for yourself. And you might be thinking, well, that's not going to make my life easier, but it will in the long run, because you're giving yourself that time to reset and recharge, and you're not working yourself to burnout. So having 1 or 2 habits that really help you, it might be the time you get to school. It might be setting times that you check your emails so you're not feeling overwhelmed about your emails. It might be how you have your kids put out their books so they can be marked easier. Whatever it is for you, but put those habits into place to make your life easier. And I would highly recommend choosing an afternoon a week to take off. And don't make it a Friday. Make it an afternoon during the week, you know? Friday's a bonus day.
It is. But I was such a weirdo. I love to use my Friday to like prep for the week, because I found there was no one around
Yes.
for me to go and chat to.
Yeah, to get distracted by.
Yeah, be like, go around, hopping around the classrooms. Like, stop it. Go do some work. Stop chit-chattering. So reset your teacher systems. It's a perfect time to do it.
The next one is great for you and for your students, and it's all about setting achievable goals together. Winter break gives us time to reflect. January is the perfect time to start that new goal that we might be looking for. And we've got so many fun activities that the kids can do to set goals.
We do. We have a whole bunch. We have lighting up the school year of what do you want to light up this year? We have the looking ahead. Is it the classroom easels? We've got so much. I can't keep track of it all, Ash.
I know, we do. We've got the lighting up the year, which is a 3D display, the easels, which is an about me, but also there's some goal setting in there too. The year ahead is like a booklet that you can fill out and then look back.
Oh, it's like a time capsule.
Yeah, yes. It's like a time capsule. We've also got the stars, the spinning stars, which will look great up on your classroom walls. There's loads of different activities that we can do.
So these are the sorts of activities which are a really great way for kids to be a bit reflective and to dream big. Like, you might have some kids with really big, audacious goals, or you might have students who find this really tricky and they're not sure even what they want to focus on. I used to always be like with my students, just pick one thing academic, and then there's one thing social or pastoral, and then you might have a goal outside of school. So it wasn't always about the academics. And you might have kids who come up with 3 academic goals, and that is okay, because some kids like that. But if I had the kids who are struggling, I would just say pick one and we'll go from there.
I always find too, asking them to choose a goal for something outside of school gives you a good little glimpse into their lives, and it gets you to know a little bit about them better too.
Absolutely. Who loves mahjong? No one. I've never met a kid who's talked about mahjong. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but
I want to learn how to play mahjong.
I used to play it on the computer, but I feel like it'd be quite cool with all the actual discs.
Yeah. Should we learn together?
Yeah, let's do it.
I was actually telling my mum not long ago I want to learn how to play mahjong because I heard Julia Roberts plays with her friends. And then my mum just went into this full rant on how she would prefer me to learn how to play bridge.
Well, there you go. You were parental pressured into...
I was. She's learned how to play bridge and she wants me to play with her.
She wants you to join the weekly bridge club.
She does. This last one is my favourite.
Yeah. Come on, Ash, tell us about it. It's good.
The strategy is just to give yourself grace. And I think this is so true with teachers just generally. Remember, you are not behind. Your students are not behind. The rhythm of your students forgetting, recalibrating, resetting up systems is absolutely normal. Think about being intentional, but also give yourself grace because it's okay and you will get there. Teachers all around the world, we are all going through exactly the same thing.
Absolutely. So resetting your classroom after winter break, it's not about perfection. We're anything but perfection over here. It's about clarity, connection, and consistency. You are doing an amazing job as an educator. You're building foundations for the students that will carry them through to the end of the school year and beyond. What a privilege you have in the position that you're in.
Yeah.
So take it one routine at a time, one small group at a time, and one joyful moment at a time.
Absolutely. Because there's rainbows ahead, our friends.
And together, we're unstoppable. Thanks for choosing to listen to Rainbow Skies for Teachers, the go-to show dedicated to teachers who want to make a big difference in education.
If you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a 5-star review or share the episode with a friend. Because together, we're
Unstoppable.